Welcome back, everyone. This is a very special episode. Today, we have Olga from SEM Rush. Her marketing guy, Felipe, reached out to me and said that he'd love to have someone from SEM Rush on the show. And I was delighted to welcome Olga. Olga, please join us on Agency Life.
Hi, great to be here.
Fantastic. Now, Olga, I don't usually do this, but I am going to read out some of your bio that you sent to me, and then I want to hear about how you got into SEM Rush. So you're the head of global marketing at SEM Rush, and together with your team, you've built one of the strongest international communities in the online marketing industry. You've expanded SEMrush brand visibility worldwide, entering the markets of over 50 countries. And you're also a judge of content and social media awards in the USA, UK, and Europe. In 2018, you were mentioned as one of the most 25 influential women in digital marketing by Top Rank. Congratulations, that's huge. And you speak at major marketing conferences, and the quotes are on user behavior appear in the media such as Business Insider and Washington Post. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and welcome to the show. Tell us, first of all, how did you get into the marketing world and then SEM?
So I actually, when I was 22 years old, I had some brief, short-term jobs before that. But when I was 22, I thought that there were three major criteria for something I was looking for. So I wanted to speak English. I'm not a native speaker, so that was a huge part of it. Talking to people and traveling. So whatever job fit those three criteria, then I would consider it. And I actually entered. I joined the bus company. That is not a really fun product, and you would not guess that those the daily tasks that I was looking for fit the bus company. But I spent 4 years there, and I was in sales and marketing, and that was also what I studied in uni. And then after 4 years, I just either had to move to headquarters in Tallinn, or there was no other growth opportunities for me, and I didn't want that. So then I just resigned, and I thought that I would be traveling for a while, or I just wanted to recharge. And I was watching the webinar on social media. And it was an opinion leader from Ireland, Ian Cleary, who was presenting the different marketing tools. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned, he just opened the dashboard of SEMrush and said that you can type in the domain and then check the keywords that your competitors are ranking for, so you can use those keywords to create content. And that was when I just hit the stop button on the webinar, and then I immediately exited I typed in semrush.com and then checked my previous competitors, and I was amazed. I didn't know those tools existed, and then I checked. So it was affordable tool that I have never seen, mm-hmm. And then I realized I've seen a logo somewhere. And I realized it was a recruitment website. So I thought that whatever they have in my city, whatever sales representative office, I didn't care. I wanted to work for that product because I believed in it so much. And then actually it turned out that the development office and then CEO by that time was still in St. Petersburg. So I just wrote the most informal cover letter ever. Guys, you're so awesome. I just heard about you on Twitter. I want to work for you. And so within a week, and they had a social media marketing manager position open, so that fit the webinar perfectly. So within 1 week, I was part of a team, and I tweeted Ian saying that I was in a job interview thanks to his referral to the tool, and on my first day. When I started, Ian got a free complimentary access to the full tool, and he has it till this day. So that's 6 years past. So that is that Yeah, sorry about social media job. Yeah, but that was completely random. And that always gave me the feeling that I'm in the right place.
Incredible. That is a great story, and also great advice to anyone to believe in you know, to like a company, and it doesn't have to be a formal cover letter. Just go after them and use the power of social media. I love that story. That's fantastic. So this program is for agency owners. We usually have agency owners on here, but every now and again I bring in companies and people that are really helping the agency partner community, because that's what we want to learn here about. It's a lonely road. It can be very tough sometimes. So teach us about, what does SEMrush and the partner community, the agency world, how does that interact? How does SEMrush help partners, and what does your program look like?
Oh, yeah, sure. So agencies are, I guess, 30% of all our of our client base. So that's actually the one of the biggest segments
Mm-hmm.
we have. And because marketing agencies, they work with a lot of clients, and then they need tools to identify the gaps really quickly, and then do the competitive research. So they would really pitch well to clients.
Yep.
That's what they do with the tool, and also they track their progress. So basically, they use SEMrush to understand what's happening in the market, what's happening on the website they're working
Yep.
on, in terms of their health, in terms of the content they should write, or in terms of the progress in Google rankings and the traffic. And then they also do the reporting. So what we basically really care about is their pitching methods, and also task automation, something like reports as well.
Yeah.
And that actually is something that we know agencies struggle with. And the majority, when we had the agency survey that we use internally, then automating reporting was one of the primary tasks that agencies requested. So we really work on the combination of the reports, white labeling, so, and then also into ensuring that once they create the report for the client, then it's just just being sent once a week or once a month, without them doing any extra effort. So we know that the agency work is overwhelming with a lot of routine work with clients. So whatever we automate, that absolutely just goes into the works with the product owners.
Oh, super. And is there a partner program? So if an agency is like, you know, oh, I'm interested in this, how does it work? Do they get their own license? Do they refer other people? Is there commission?
Yes. So if they want to use the data for pitching,
Yeah.
or for just working on a client, they have just a subscription, or they just buy a subscription and they have access. And also, if, let's say, agencies want to subscribe their client, so the client would have the license, they have a commission, and yeah, they would, or it's either they referred from the website, and then if the client buys it on the website with the referral code, that's even up to 40% commission, which is actually quite a strong.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Super. And who would be your major competitors, and how are you guys different?
So we have a lot of tools that's for SEO agencies, for PPC agencies, for content on whoever just working generally on different types of services. So there are really strong SEO tools. I would like to name a few. There would be Ahrefs. That's a really strong SEO tool. And in a more expensive enterprise space, that would be Searchmetrics, or that could be Bright Edge. So that's the main competition that we have there.
Yeah.
And then for PPC services or PPC tools, then it's absolutely different market with different tools, and for content as well. So that's, for content that might be like but we look at tools as BuzzSumo or Meltwater or Brandwatch. So that's the tools that we kind of compete with. So because we've the toolkit, then we compete with
A
with
lot of
every
people,
other.
right? Yeah. But you have a bigger, broader product. I think that 40% is going to sound attractive as well. What other kind of things that do you add to the agency?
When we did the survey, and then more than 200 agencies took part,
Yeah.
then what they said is that their budget for their marketing tools is up to $500.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what we really did well, in the sense that we offered that scope like for $200. Not selling the tool now, which is just this
No,
like
no,
the
this is, yeah, we want people to, no, absolutely. This is, we know this isn't a sales pitch. This isn't an ad, as they say in the influencers. It's more, I'm curious as well, because I do work with so many agencies. This is good to know. Somebody could be listening there, hearing about this for the first time.
So our CEO has the dream of helping 1 billion marketers. For that, we also need
Wow.
to grow marketing professionals, because there are not as many. Well, now there's less than 1 billion marketing professionals in the world. So that's why we also have a lot of free content. We work with influencers to ensure that we even certify marketing professionals. And then that was also a request from the agencies, because they want to put something on the website that they're certified and verified by some respected brand in the space. So he also, like, if he wants to help 1 billion marketers, then we need to have the most affordable pricing, so people would be able to use it. And that's why I think, we keep adding the tools,
Yep.
and that the pricing doesn't really go up, and that's for the reason that we have like a higher goal of ensuring that everyone has the accessible tool. So
That's incredible. I love that big juicy goal. I love a big juicy goal. It's so, so cool. So thanks for sharing that. That's why I just wanted to set a baseline. I know I've heard about SEMrush for a long, long time, but not everyone has. Sometimes it's new information. But let's dig into, you have got so many insights that we can share with agencies. Talk more about the survey that you did recently and some of the things that came out of some of the insights that you can share with us about what agencies are experiencing at the moment.
So we focused more on the challenges, obviously, because we want to solve that. So what we really saw is that as I said, the automation was the primary request, because that saved time, and the reporting is again the primary automation concern. And majority uses PDFs. That's what we also were kind of interested in. And what else? I'm just scrolling the report. So
oh, cool. Thank you.
and then we identify the most time-consuming parts of the working process. So it's organization of the whole workflow, then also keeping updated on the industry news, and then just basically constant reach, product management, just so internal work, and then the client communication, obviously. That is also time consuming, and especially sourcing and then searching for the clients. So that is so already communication is not like taking that much time, but automating or just sourcing and finding the potential prospects is something that they struggle with. We called it changes in implementation, but I think that was something when client requests the change, or the execution happened, and then there is an additional task. So that's what kind of we saw the agencies struggling with, and that's where we took from that we need to find prospects for them and also automate reporting. So I think that's what our product team focused really more. Regarding budgets, we understood that most of the agencies really want to keep the budgets for the tool really low, and then considering also the amount of employees. So out of agencies that we asked, the majority still were quite small, or they had them extended freelancer base, but then they had not more than 10 people in the agency. So that also really showed us how tough the space is, because with having 10 people or less than 10 people team, sourcing and finding prospects and pitching to clients and doing the actual work, and also managing then the whole strategy and then the internal workflows, I think that is really a stressful environment.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a time it was a whole lot easier. You know, I've been in this industry for over 12 years, and there was a time where you could, you know, say, oh, we'll do your marketing strategy, and you could spend one afternoon doing the Google ads and another afternoon doing the Facebook ads and doing the marketing strategy, doing their blogging. And you could get, you know, most of the work done in a week yourself, right? That's completely different. It's so much bigger right now of the whole marketing strategy. And I think agencies are figuring that out. You raised a really good point as well, like the amount of time it takes to do these reports. The agencies of the future, you're probably seeing this yourself, are the ones that can do things in the most efficient amount of time, and the client sees the most amount of value in it. You know, it's no point in spending 10 hours doing an incredible report and sending it over to the client and they don't read it. You know, it's like, so how do you make sure that, you know, if you're going to get this automated report, that what your time now needs to be spent is maybe booking a meeting with them and going through that report, or doing a recording of, here's your automated, you know, they don't know that it's automated from that side, but you can do a recording and go, just want to let you know, this is what worked last week, this is what did not work last week, this is what we're going to do next week. That's where the value comes in, and the expertise, and finding out by tracking it, did the client actually watch the video? And calling them on Tuesday and going, hey, yeah, I sent over that report on Friday. You haven't had a chance. Can we, you know, make sure that you see it? So I think agencies have to understand that in the future, delivering the time, the work, valuable work that is profitable in a reasonable amount of time, and making sure the client knows what's going on as well. Is that probably something you're seeing too?
We actually also see that agencies really start educating their clients, because that's what really, there is a gap of the expectations and also the knowledge of the metrics. So that is what, for example, one of our clients, the Studio Hoke agency, they're Melbourne based and London based, and they say it's now a mandatory thing to, so they send their clients to SEMrush Academy.
Oh,
So
excellent.
learn from the influencer on SEO fundamentals course, and then they get certified, and then they could work with them easier because client already knows even the fundamentals and what to expect. So because it's free, then it's for them it's easy just to send them there. So I thought that was brilliant.
That is an incredible tip. And if any agency out there is listening to go, God, how can I help them understand my reports? That is a great tip, a fantastic tip, because a client will sit there as well and nod their heads and go, yeah, the report. But the minute the agency gets off that call, they go back into their own world. They're not SEO experts, and neither does the client want to be, but a base level of knowledge and an understanding. That's phenomenal. Great tip. I love that. What else? One of the questions I wanted to ask you and share with the audience as well is, what are the predictions that you can actually see and that are exciting in the next 3 years for agencies? That is a great tip that you've just shared. I have never heard of that being done before. And we must look in, maybe have a chat with Studio Hook and see how that all came about. They sound like an interesting agency. But talk to me more about some of the predictions that you're seeing and the opportunities for agencies.
So I believe that now, because people are consuming content and then also short content, and social media is growing, and people trust each other or they trust Google. So
Yeah.
that's I think then all the content that, well, so there is a stronger need for content either in text or in visual, like videos and
Mm-hmm.
images. And
Images. Yeah.
then I think the content services are actually getting more and more accessible. So in case you need to build the text or well, create the video and well, on some image, then I think this will be only growing. Well, I've seen a lot of content campaigns. So they were either, if that was a low budget campaign, that was always text and using SEO as a primary channel to measure the outcome. That's how well, so I was recently judging the content awards for Europe. So the low budget campaigns then were like 90% of them were text and then measured through SEO efforts. If that's not a low budget campaign, but a bigger one, then I've seen still video and then it well, plus the advertising and then pushed through social media. So I think that's like two typical ways of how to well, engage with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then so content services are, well, required and then they're needed. So either you just find well, you can easily grow your business by finding the freelancers and then well, then offering more work in content wise to the clients, or you can even, well, try to hire someone in-house and then they will have the job. Well, and because that's basically what every company now needs.
That's
And
right.
then I think the awareness about the content marketing is growing. So people would be, marketing managers within the companies would be happy to hear that there's someone like you have the content covered, you can create it yourself. And especially now I've seen a lot of data-driven content campaigns really taking over, and that's a really creative approach, because then you can combine content, you can combine PR, because with the data, and then if you analyze some, like, well, even survey, or you can well, analyze something with social media tools or SEO
Uh-huh.
tools, you can search volumes, um, and then the media company would be happy to link to your landing page. Also, then helping the SEO efforts. So basically, by your content campaign, you're able to help the PR team and the SEO team.
Amazing.
Uh, and so I think that if agencies are only offering SEO services, that would be a really good combination to add a person who would help with the content creation, or just expand your team of freelance writers. And that's what I definitely see as a trend. So content services, we even created the content marketplace where, well, our clients could order content, and that's like we really see instantly the demand, and then it's growing. So it's just one of our really interesting products that, well, yeah, that is showing a really positive trend. So if that's happening with, well, in our space, and that's within the agencies, then I think well, if you don't offer content services
Yeah.
at this point, then probably you should start, at least test it.
Yep. And even if that sounds a bit daunting, you're like, I don't know where to start. It's approaching companies that may perhaps have fantastic blogs. Maybe they have a 5-year-old blog and they've been blogging once a week and they've got text. You can approach them and start going, can we turn those into videos? Can we turn them into visuals? Can we update all of that education that's on there and actually take it into 2020 and beyond, and then put a wraparound services of that? Because every company has got a ton of information sitting in their business. They just don't know how to get it out, make it visual, and data drive it as well by showing reports and SEO, like the expertise that agencies have. I love that. There's a very long business and the long future in that, no matter what goes on in the world. You know, that the R word is being thrown around at the moment, but at the end of the day, companies still need to make money. They still need to invest in marketing and sales. So I love that tip. Talk to us else about what you're seeing as well about the number of potential clients that are willing to spend a small amount of online and that are growing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So also what we see is that a lot of more people, there are, well, especially small businesses, they are willing to spend money on online because they see the audience going to Instagram, the audience, well, also searching for services. So small travel agency would now be willing to start their Instagram page, but they don't know how to do it, but they don't have the big budget. So actually maybe setting up internally a really thorough instructions for someone who also would want to learn marketing, or so hiring junior specialists, and then also training them, and then offering their services to to someone who would be like a really low budget client, but still making sure that they get some value. Then I think, by attracting those low margin clients, you will really quickly grow your client base, because there are not many agencies who even compete in this space. Like, there are no agencies who would really subscribe to do low budget campaigns with clients, and also especially in companies in countries that would be like Germany or in UK, their agencies charge more than, let's say, in Europe and Poland, but Polish agencies would they're actually going out and then offering their services to in other countries. But then the agencies that are present in Western Europe and especially in US, they're used to charging more. But if you hire more staff and then just educate juniors, then you have plumbers, you have travel agencies, you have a lot of maybe taxi drivers, I don't know,
restaurants, absolutely, laundromats, it's everyone's looking for a presence online. It's like the old days, like 10 years ago, it was Facebook pages, but I think what agencies have done, you bring an interesting point there, and I do talk to agency owners about this. Just because you've advanced and you have had an Instagram account for 8 years doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with providing that service for a new business starting out, or a business that has been around for a long time and doesn't know where to start. A great education for your team. If you're an agency, you could hire a junior who can set up an Instagram account and train a company to do that, like with their eyes closed, because they were probably doing it for their family members for free, in their private life, they're digital natives. A great training, getting that person into an agency, experiencing, and they can graduate through the business. They could hire more people, more juniors. A fantastic low hanging fruit opportunity. I think everyone needs to look at that, and again, balance their books. Of course, you want those high margin clients, but there's going to be a lot of volatility happening in the world in the next couple of years. So, two big clients that you have most of your team working on, and then one of them goes, or one and a half of them change their budgets. Where are you left? Your business is top heavy. I love that aspect. Good for the local community, because junior people can get a start on a job, probably very close to your own heart there, Olga. You were like, I have to travel, and I love that idea. It's a very, very good tip. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. What else are you seeing? Yeah.
I actually want to add that if your clients see a spike in their audience, and then they actually have more budget to spend, and then they believe in online more, so eventually you can grow the client from just spending not much with you. Then if they see the impact, they will eventually spend a lot more. So I think you can even you will grow together with your clients, and then they will just give you more and more money to spend and invest in online.
That's brilliant. That's very, very cool. Another area that I'd love for you to share more about that you said that you can see a prediction for the future is the growing request for YouTube, for video, YouTube, and Amazon optimization. Talk to me about that, because very curious to hear about that side of things.
We see a lot more, businesses just see, Amazon is a marketplace, and then a lot of, third-party producers of various goods, then they see the Amazon now as a top place to be. And then obviously that gets more crowded, and optimization of their snippet of, and then also people search, and then they search for certain things. And then if you have a great name for your product, that might not match what clients are searching for. So now the tools emerge in Amazon space that help optimization, and also there are more and more agencies offering that services. And then the demand from people, I think, is higher now than the people who are professionals in the space. And then the agencies who start early with the Amazon optimization, they're gonna really, really, really win this. And now also I see a lot of agency owners speak at conferences. I really now think that with Amazon optimization, and then like how to sell on Amazon, you are able to get exposure to the audience early in the days, and then you will be, if you speak from the stage, then you'll be a trusted source in this, and then eventually you'll get even like bigger companies also reaching out to you. So I think it's another long-hanging fruit where you just leave your team, work on your existing clients, then maybe spend some time educating yourself on how to optimize products on Amazon, so they would be viewed more, and ultimately get absolutely new audience. And then if that's a producer of the goods and they actually have the budget to promote this, and then seeing the Amazon as a primary spot, then they're definitely going to spend more with you to get more clients buy the product.
Incredible. I think you've brought up something very valuable there about the search for functionality. It's something I think personally, I go, if I want to learn about something, I'll go to Google for the text or the video, but if I know the product that I'm looking for, I will go to Amazon. I start there. I don't go starting in Google. I start in Amazon. And there, it's like they were a distribution selling retail company that's now turned online, right? That now they're big online. So whereas Google has always been online, but now they're going over to the shop. So that conversion is going to be the converging of those two powerhouses is going to be fascinating over the next year. And then something else that you reminded me of is that AliExpress, the Chinese market. Like I've even done it a couple of times myself, where I've seen the picture of a jacket that I wanted, not spending 600, 800, 1,000 euros on it. And I took the picture and I put it into AliExpress and I found it. It's like, for not like not even a tenth of the price. And that's another functionality that's got to come through, is like taking that picture. You don't know what it is. You don't know the name of it. You don't know the brand. It's just a picture of a thing that you want. And when all of that comes together, that AliExpress functionality, Google has it, the image search, but once Amazon gets to that level, like God, then we're in a whole different world, and you can have it delivered in an hour. On a drone.
Companies in China, I've been to the cross-border conference in China. They're all looking at a way also to enter Amazon. So you might not even end up with audience from your own country, but from China that would that would need someone to help them. So I think so the opportunities with Amazon, since it's growing so much and then expanding in different countries, and then also that's a primary place for people because of the quick deliveries. So that's something that, with the growth of Amazon, your business will be growing as well.
Amazing. Great. A great opportunity there that I think people haven't thought about. This is, I hope these agency owners are writing down these knowledge bombs. Thank you so much for sharing. That's so cool. One of the things I wanted to ask you as well is about some examples of what agencies are doing. You've just given us a great example about an agency telling, go to SEMrush University, learn about SEO. But there's an SEO and advertising campaign that you said you'd like to share about, a really good example of agencies doing things well.
Sure. Yeah. So the scenario would be pretty. So yeah, in terms of SEO, for example, we have a case study page where the agency would just really in Turkey, for example, they took a big website. They run the site audit. They identified the issues for the website, and then they identified the content that could have been written differently, basically, and then also the traffic that they measured the traffic and the keywords they were ranking for, and then they identified the core keywords. So they started optimizing the content and then website based on our technical recommendations and content recommendations, and then tracking everything in one place for the keywords they cared about. So eventually the number of keywords they were ranking for expanded, and then the rankings for the core keywords also just went up. So eventually that could be measured by the traffic graph, like from that they get from the organic search, and also specific places where they were ranking and elements. So eventually that was online store. So for them, ranking, Google driving Google was driving so much traffic, and then with increase they got, I think, up to 400,000 visits per month, and that is that was a really success. And if they have done it in Turkey, basically we work like with every market, and then there's a lot of companies that do the same in US, but that was just the one that I remembered off the top of my head. And then PPC agency was that's called Morph Sites.
Yes.
They actually offered the SEO services, and then they wanted to expand to PPC, and that was a meat store that they started, that needed the launch. So they identified the main paid keywords in the market. They also checked the competitive landscape and the ads that they had in the space. And then basically by identifying also the gaps what the market had, so they just created the ads with the right content, and then bidding a really interesting keywords that were not that expensive by cost per click, but had highest volume. So we give that analytics, and then it just so they started bidding on the proper keywords, and again then measured the results through the traffic graphs from paid. So that was a really good launch and a quick win. So they haven't shared the exact keywords, obviously, but there is a full story with videos on how they achieved the launch.
Yeah.
Really successful.
I see that you've got a link, and we're going to share that link. But if anyone's listening, it's very simple. It's semrush.com/company/stories. And you seem to have some stories in there and examples that an agency can look at and understand. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. That's very, very cool. What else are you seeing like agencies that are doing well? Any other tips that you can share with us?
What we see in the agency world is that they primarily now get the referrals through word of mouth or also the conferences, but conferences take a lot of time for the person to actually listen to the speaker and then reach out for help. That's kind of half a year or so. That's what
That's right. Yeah,
the,
you're right. Absolutely.
and what I also understand is that the best speeches are more either case oriented or the ones that show how they will do the audit and what comes from that. So I think when the customer or potential customers shown the audit or the gaps that in someone else's example, what they actually feel is that then like this nervous feeling of missing something, and then they might need the help if when they see the data on how well some website performs and then how other perform in their space, but what the easy steps that the agency owner, the agency took to fix some other website, then I think those speeches really work well even with me. So they resonate with me if I see the really the step-by-step case study. And I feel that agency owners should speak more because they are the ones who actually know a lot of industries, have a lot of examples, and then they're really when I speak, well, I come from a in-house world, so I 100% of my time is allocated to one specific case. Agency has a lot of clients, and then the different industries or different type of clients, and then maybe some so I think that they really have the powerful scope to share. And also I like to hear them speak, but not when they actually share the broad general stuff, but when they share the examples of the work, because that's what you trust more and more. And I think one more suggestion that I would make in promoting the agency would be attend or submit entries to the awards.
Yeah.
Depending on the space, but if you've done some SEO work, then it would be search awards or content awards, some social media awards. So it's there are different benefits. So first, your campaign is shortlisted, then your existing client, even the shortlist announcement is really flattering to the client.
Yes.
And then you use the proof that your campaigns are award-winning when pitching to new clients. But there is another benefit that many not realize. The judges panel, it is primarily gathered. So they gather in-house professionals from different brands. So I was now in the panel with marketing, a person from John Lewis, and then there were a lot of other in-house people. So what happens if I like the campaign? Then next time I would need any agency services, then I would reach out to the agencies that I've seen in the entries and who delivered the best results.
Amazing.
So not only you get the chance to get the award for the campaign you've done, but also all of the judging panels, they are made of professionals and experts, and then most likely in-house. So you get a really, really good lead without really pitching anything to them directly.
I love it. And you've just sort of cut through a lot of noise that's gone out there. That's I would have said before, for agencies, an award, I see them post, we've just won this award, and they just talk and they put a picture of the award up, and my first thing is like, so what, love? Like, congratulations. But really, if they'd have said thank you to the client that we did this campaign for, that we got this, you know, we got shortlisted, and boost the campaign and boost the results that you got for the client, and put the award kind of in the background, but put the client and the results in the foreground. That is a much better way of saying, answering the question when somebody sees another agency award of, so what? You've gone, this, without this client and these results that we got and the great working relationship we have, here's the, you know, here's the little awards in the background, but this is what's the important part. And a great tip there about entering, getting exposure, building your network. Even if you're shortlisted, even if you just go to the event and you don't win, you'll network on the night, you'll meet other people at the award. I love that tip. Thank you, Olga. I would never have seen it from that perspective before, but that's very enlightening. I feel that's really good. And like you said there, like you can see a lot of agency owners missing out on the opportunity of not speaking, not entering these awards. They're too busy in the back office of their business on a tactical role, which of course you've got to do in the beginning. Of course you've got to learn how to sell and you've got to learn how to do delivery. But if you are 2 years in a business and still doing tactical and you're growing and things are going well, you need to get good people in so that you can get out and stand on stage. And great idea there. I saw it live at Impact last year, and it's going to be the same at Digital Sales and Marketing World in Hartford, Connecticut in April, where Marcus Sheridan talked about the work he did with the clients on the stage. And it was such a great presentation, because number one, you saw the relationship. You know, you could see the customer like super happy to be on stage. You could see the interaction, that they got on well together. The customer talked about the results. You know, Marcus didn't really have to do a lot of talking about what Impact did and what the sales line did for the client. But it was lovely. It was human. It was real. It was results. And a prospect can look at that agency and the relationship and go, do you know what? I'm not getting on with my agency like that. I'm not up on stage talking about my business. So another great tactic, if you're looking at what am I going to talk about over the next year, get your clients up on stage, showcase them, showcase your relationship, showcase the results.
Yep.
Super. You've really enlightened things there. That is fantastic. Now, what we'd love to share as well is, I always try to bring this back, because agency owners, they're trying to balance things in their life. And I ask this tip from everyone. So I'd love you to share a tip that you found that's really helped you, something in your daily routine that helps you with your work. And then we're going to wrap up with a final tip as well. But tell us what some of the things that you do to help you in your work, to help you focus, to help you be productive.
I actually, so I, the one tip that I put in the questionnaire that you sent was that I don't use any headphones when I work. I don't know if that even would help anyone.
Yeah.
But I just feel that, so I focus with, even if there's a background noise, but if there are some keywords, important ones, that like, well, when people start discussing something super important, then somehow they get in my head, and then I just instantly join the discussion. But when the discussion is not relevant, then I just zoom out and then somehow like focus on whatever I was doing. So I think, I don't know if that would work for everyone, but that definitely helps me. So I really tune in when I need, and then I just zoom out when I don't. So that really helped me.
I think that's a great one, because a lot of agencies, they'll have, you go in and everyone's had their headphones on, they're listening and they're focusing, which for certain times of the day is absolutely fine. But this is something I talk to agencies about, is take some time to go headphones off, you know, from 2 to 4 headphones off. So the conversations, because you've got to get used to background noise and dialing into things that are relevant for you and dialing out of ones that are not. It's a good skill to learn. I think that's a great one. Thanks, Olga, for sharing that. This has been incredibly informative. It's fantastic. And I just want to wrap it up with a final sort of, if you had one tip to tell agencies from your perspective. We've given them a lot of tips here, but let's leave them with one big final one that I think you have an insight after seeing lots and lots of agencies in the world. What would be that tip you'd give them?
I would say that more clients doesn't mean more revenue. And
Yes,
so I've heard one agency owner saying that she used to have 5 employees, and then she scaled, and then there was like 25 employees, but the revenue actually stayed the same because you get more clients, but you need more workforce.
correct.
So I think it's just just really remember that if you want to grow, then you will need to hire a lot more people, and then the revenue might not grow in this situation. So yeah, there's always a question. If you want to scale, then there is some sacrifices. If you just want to keep the agency nice and small, and then serve just limited amount of clients, that also is really fine. And then with proper structure and proper internal workflows, that could even be easier, less stressful, and then the clients will stay with you longer. But if you want to grow, then there should be a sacrifice, and that's likely to be revenue first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear a lot of agencies chasing revenue goals are talking about the revenue, but when you dig underneath the hood, the profits are single digit. They've got a horrible company culture. They've got problems up there all over the place. So the revenue numbers, if you're an agency out there and you're competing and comparing yourself to other agencies with other revenue, just take a step back. Have you got great clients that you're getting good results for with work that you love to do and a good company culture, and you're in double-digit profit? That's a much better place to be than chasing some big revenue goal. Lovely advice, and love to hear that it's not just me who's saying things like that to agencies. Olga from SEMrush, I want to thank you so much. This has been incredibly helpful. I've learned so much on this interview with you. I'd like to say thank you so much for joining us from Prague today on Agency Live.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. I'll see everyone on the next episode of Agency Life, and have a great day, everyone. Drop us a line if you have any questions at all or any feedback. Actually, Olga, if someone is listening to this and going, hey, where do I find out about SEMrush Partner Program? What's the best place to go? And I'll put the notes in the show notes as well.
So that would be BRush, BERUSH.com. So that's the partner program.
BRush.
Yeah.
God, that's a great name. You guys have nailed it. So if you go to that website, we'll put the link in the show notes as well, just in case you're driving or you're walking, as most podcast listeners are. You can hop back into the show notes and get that link. Again, thank you so much, Olga. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Have a great day.